Thank you, Michael. Really disappointed, obviously, with the result. You know, we're not framing it as a lesson learned. We're actually framing it as a wake-up call. Really poor performance against a top team. And I think if you give, or I know, if you give a team like that the opportunities that we gave them, you're going to have no chance to win. It's never going to happen. And, you know, that's what's really disappointing about the game. I think the first half, you look at the 2 goals, maybe they had 2.5 chances in the first half, scored 2 goals, and then, you know, from the 75th minute on, it was, I think, a lack of respect for our opponent, the game of soccer, what we were doing. And, you know, I think the sad thing is it overshadows, you know, how we got back into the game, how we were aggressive, how we had them on their heels, and they were, you know, they were struggling for a moment when it was 2-1, and we weren't able to capitalize on it, and then the game went to pieces late in the match. So, wake-up call for us. We express that to the group, and we move forward, and we play Brazil on Wednesday. Thank you.
Stephen.
Steve Goff, The Washington Post. Greg, what individual mistakes seem to really hurt you as well as the collective? Were you surprised given given how long this team has been together and some of the repetitions they've gone through that this would unfold that way?
You know, it was a good opponent, and, you know, particularly late in the game is, you know, we weren't moving for each other. You know, we had this idea that we were going to dribble out of the back every time. You know, it was multiple players. You can't just point to one player. Multiple players. And, you know, again, not respecting the game of soccer and the opponent in that case. You know, it's a very good opponent, very dangerous opponent. You know, our whole idea was the space has got to be small. If you make the space big, you're in trouble. And you saw that. As soon as we opened it up, it was lights out.
Henry, to your left.
Greg, you guys, you and the players have consistently talked about wanting to and needing to beat big teams like this, to have confidence that you can do it when you go into a major tournament. Do you worry that the consistent losing to these types of teams will potentially have the opposite effect, and that it would get in guys' heads that they maybe feel like they can't beat this team?
No, I don't think so. I mean, again, it's about understanding what it takes to beat teams like this. And, you know, when I said a wake-up call, you know, there's some glaring things that you have to address if you're going to compete at this level. And, you know, and so, you know, we just go back to work. You know, our mindset the whole time is we want to improve, we want to get better, we want to use every opportunity, every game we play to keep improving, and we'll certainly keep the same theme in this one.
Michele, straight ahead, and then Jonathan.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Michele.
Any positive that you take away from the game?
Yeah, there were some positive chunks of the game, right? But, you know, again, when I'm looking right now at 5-1, and, you know, it's not good enough. That's for sure. And there were positive things in the game. I think we competed. We pushed them to a level that they were getting overextended. And then, you know, then we fell flat. But there's certainly positives to take from the game, and we'll look at that.
Jonathan.
Thanks. So Jonathan Tannenwell from the Philadelphia
Yep.
Inquirer. I know there's been a bunch of questions already about the defensive side of things, but whether individual or collectively, as you're standing there on the field as a former center back watching the defensive play that there was, just what almost sort of instinctively is going through your mind when you're watching that?
You know, we can't pinpoint the center backs in this one. We really can't. You know, it had nothing to do with a 5-1 result. You know, when you can go back and check the goals. You know, it's midfielders not recovering. It's guys losing the ball in positions when our fullbacks are high. You know, they got hung out to dry a number of occasions. You know, it's a second phase from a set piece. It's a miscue on a ball that's going out of bounds in the first 6 minutes of the game. So, you know, it's a collective thing, and you know, the reason why I'm so disappointed is because guys just didn't do their job. It's about your role, your responsibility, and we didn't do that.
I didn't mean yours, I meant you being a former center back, not the players,
yeah.
you watching.
Oh, well, yeah. No, I mean, this is why I'm reacting the way I'm reacting, because, you know, again, it was, you know, it's a wake-up call.
Pablo, to your right.
Greg Pablo, with The Athletic. I wanted to ask a little bit about the the makeup of the crowd and the atmosphere, it's something you might be dealing with in this tournament. Probably felt a little bit effectively like an away game. How does it affect the performance of players? Do you have thoughts on that generally? Obviously, it's sort of a story as old as time in a country with large immigrant populations.
I think it's great. I mean, it's a celebration. You saw the fans there. I mean, our bus was pulling up by the Columbia fans, and they were cheering us on. And you saw it was about appreciating the game. When we got back into it and we were pushing, people were loud and so it was. It's about our job is to engage the fans and make it a fun spectacle and really compete. And so we know the crowds are going to be mostly slanted towards the opponent in games like this. We expect the same on Wednesday in Orlando, but that's all part of it. I mean, that helps the team.
Sanjay, front row here.
Big opportunities for Scally and Johnny in the lineup tonight. How do you think they did? And then you mentioned guys not doing their job. There were just individual mistakes, right, on maybe most of the goals. It was the same story in that big game against the Netherlands in the World Cup. Like, how do you, as a coach, address that? Because some of it obviously is players making technical, mistakes. But how do you kind of eliminate that?
Yeah, well, we have to own it. We take responsibility as a coaching staff for sure. We can't put this all on the players, and it's our job to prepare them with a game plan, and then it's about execution. And I think that this game will help us understand that when we don't do the things we're supposed to do, we'll get hurt really quickly. And that's, I think, if I'm taking one thing out of the game, if the guys are taking one thing out of the game, it's like, guys, you got to play a very strong game. You got to play for 90 minutes in this game or you're in trouble. And you see how quickly a guy like Diaz, you give him a little bit of space, you're dead. And you saw that. I mean, it's impressive. It was nice. I hope it was nice for you guys to see. But it is, a wake-up call. Like that attacking quality, you're in trouble. And guess what? Wednesday, you got Vinny coming to town. It's not gonna be easy.
And then Scally and Johnny.
Yeah, I thought they did fine. I thought there was times when Joe did more than fine. I thought he did really good. And I think it's just when you put the whole thing together, I don't think anyone looks good. We're not giving anyone 8 out of 10s when you lose 5-1. It's going to be really hard to do.
All the way in the back, purple.
Hey, Greg, back here, all the way at the back top. Yeah, I know we talked about when they announced the game what it was going to be like playing here in the DMV area.
Yeah.
What do you think of the experience this week, and what do you think of the venue today, and just how everything went with that?
Again, I keep talking about celebration of soccer. That's what it was. The crowd was amazing. They got to see a very competitive game. Two teams going for it. I think Colombia is unbeaten in 22 games for a reason, because of their quality. And but the venue was great, the pitch was great, everything was really good, and it's a great area for soccer. We know DC has a historic connection to soccer.
And then just real quick, a follow-up, you were talking about how it's the common thing that there's a lot of fans of the international teams you've played, and you talked about how you want this team to play at a higher level. Do you think that when the team does reach that level you're striving for, that maybe in these stands we'll see even more, a higher percentage of USA fans at games like this in the future?
I think so. I think it does go hand in hand. But the fact is, America is a wonderful country. We have people from all over. We have a number of different cultures, and I completely understand how the Colombian Americans that are living in the United States, they don't get to Colombia all the time to see their team, and this is a great opportunity for them to come out. So it's that's what makes America special. The opportunities like this.
We'll do 2 more. Start, Jerry.
We keep talking about individual mistakes, and of course that persisted throughout the game. But it also seemed to be a lack of communication when these mistakes were made, and even prior and afterwards. Am I reading this wrong, or was there a lack of communication among the players themselves?
Yeah, I think that's a tough one. I think we lost cohesion when we made all those subs. I think that was when the wheels started to fall off a little bit, and that could have something to do with it. Maybe the lack of communication, as our solutions came in. And normally they've done a fantastic job for us, But again, when we go through the team sheet, it's a collective performance, and collectively we're not happy with what happened.
Over to your right, front row.
Hey, Greg, over here. Larry Henry, SBI. I know he didn't play tonight. I know he came into camp with kind of some fitness questions. Tyler Adams. I just wanted to see what you've seen from him so far in camp. How's he looking fitness-wise, and should we expect to see him against Brazil?
He's been doing a great job of building strength up and getting back to a good level. We're cautious with him at the Nations League, and we've been cautious with him again this camp. Really trying to build up his strength and fitness to get him ready to compete. Today was too early, but hopefully we will get to see him, either in Brazil or as the tournament begins.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.